next step is for you going into your first full season as a starter?
Man, just getting better. Being better than I was last year, being better than I was yesterday and today. Each and every day, just working on improving. On the field, off the field, building connections, relationships with my teammates. It's a lot of different aspects that go into that. In order for this team to have the season that we want to have this year.
Mike, I know that the conversation around you and Kirk Cousins is probably more dramatic to the outside than it is to you guys. What's your relationship like with Kirk, and how's he been able to help you transition into QB1 for real?
Yeah, man, it's been good. Kirk, he's always been the same guy, from day one. He always told me since I got in, he was like, I got your back. I told him I got his back. We support each other, and that's how it's always going to be. We're teammates. We want this team to win football games.
What were some do's and don'ts Coach Morris shared either with you personally or with the team that he wanted to see during minicamp?
Do's and don'ts.
Do's and don'ts. Jumping off side, being technically sound.
Well, obviously, yeah, you don't want no penalties. That's something that's really self-explanatory. But as far as on the field, staying up, protecting the team. That's the biggest thing that he talked about. That can go in a do and a don't, because like protecting the team. Just when we out here at practice, we want to compete at a high level, but we don't want no guys on the ground. We don't want nobody rolled up. Getting any type of injuries around this time. We want to just go out there and be able to have fun and compete at a high level and stay safe while doing it. So I say that's the biggest coach point that he's been giving us this whole OTA period.
Having the full OTAs and now mandatory minicamp, just how much more confidence do you have with your receivers and your tight ends?
Yeah, I got a lot of confidence. I feel like, just those reps, that we get in each and every day, is definitely going to help, come game day. And that's the biggest thing that, I'm super excited about. Just knowing that what we were able to do, like with me and the receivers, in just 3 games, just knowing that now we got these reps in the off season, and practice and stuff like that, I know it's going to be 10 times better. So.
Mike, after the last game, you said that this offseason would be critical to you and your development as a quarterback, but you didn't know what the regimen would look like. What did the regimen look like, and have you seen any results from that work in the offseason?
Just learning how to be a pro. I feel like that's the biggest thing. You coming in as a rookie, in college, just everything was always, on the schedule. Your off-season program was on the schedule. You had to be in. You had these workouts, but now it's like whenever all season come around, it's on you. You got to know how to, be a pro. You got to know when you need to work out. The things that you need to do so that whenever you do come back for OTAs and stuff like that, you're ready. That's the biggest thing that I learned this off season. I know it's been out there I had talks with Matt Ryan. Just how he did his off season. Some different things that he did to help him stay ready whenever camp and stuff came around, and just looking forward to implementing those things and just continue to get better each and every day.
Mike, talking about the communication that you're growing with Zach, with your receiver, saw a point today talking with Zach, talking with Bijan. That growth that you find and what your voice is communicating more about what you want, especially when it comes to routes and things that you see on the defense.
Yeah, it's been good. And Z-Rob, obviously as a coordinator calling the plays, I appreciate him because he's played the game, he's played the sport. He was a quarterback as well, so he understands. Some of the things that we see on the field, he might not see up in the box. So he always asks us for our input and how we feel like within the plays and stuff like that. I feel like that's critical because, like I said, we the ones on the field. He's calling the plays, and he calls a great play. We got to execute and make it look good. If he doesn't call a great play, we got to make sure that we make him look good. And it's vice versa. That's how we work. As an offense. Always trying to put points on the board. So I feel like it's been good, and the relationship been good. So I feel like everything has been going smooth.
What have you learned the most about watching Kirk go through last season? You got your opportunity, and then now going through what you got now. What did you learn the most from watching Kirk go through?
Just how to be a pro. That just go back to the question I answered earlier. And like Kirk, he's a pro, man. Like obviously 13 years in the league, going on year 14 this year. He knows the ins and outs, and he knows how to operate the offense at a high level. And I feel like I learned a lot of that stuff from him. How he operated the offense, how he took command of the huddle. How he talked about the things that he wanted whenever he was out on the field. I feel like I picked up on a lot of those things and able to implement it in my game as well. So.
Michael, you got a Father's Day coming up. How has your father influenced you in your football career and as a person?
Oh man, it's big, man. Like my dad, that's my hero. Like he did everything for me. Growing up, he was always my coach. But he wasn't no just players coach. Like my dad, he benched me. Like if I ain't playing good, tell me I'm stinking up the field. Like because he always wanted the best out of me. As a little kid, you don't understand that. You know, you're like, my dad benched me, like, you my dad, you know. But just seeing how hard he pushed me, you know, it helped me get to this point I am. I'm here today, you know. I feel like I couldn't have got this far without him. So it's a blessing to be able to have him and somebody like that in my life.
Mike, favorite memories you could tell us about between you and your dad?
Favorite memories, not the best memory, but my dad made me. I had an all-star baseball game. He was the all-star coach. All-star baseball game, I had to sit the bench, not in the dugout, but in the stands because I couldn't find my belt on game day. I could text my teammates, ask them could they bring a belt. They brought a belt. My dad said nah, because he was just teaching me discipline. You know, just you got to be able to take care of your stuff. Whenever game day comes, you got to have everything. You got to be ready. And I wasn't ready that day. And like I said, as a kid, you like, for a belt? It's crazy. You know, I didn't even need a belt, but it was part of our uniform. So that's what he was just teaching me, small things like that I didn't understand, but I do now. But it was crazy.